we have a big problem with our contemporary budget process. The problem is that the growing debt and deficits have led to a stagnation in the budget process because some members of Congress want to increase spending while others do not. The debt is becoming a greater percentage of the GDP. The increasing deficit means that neither party is flexible in terms of its options.
We do what it takes to bring this deficit down. That is critical. Now, but if the United States Congress does not fulfill its responsibility to pass a budget today, much of the United States government will be forced to shut down tomorrow.
So, why are we highlighting this? Well, having this problem is time-consuming for Congress. The party of the president in general wants to raise the debt limit. This increases spending, but Congress has to think through whether or not they're going to allow this depending on the deficit. But even though it's a complex problem, we think it's fixable. So this problem negatively affects budgeting in a multitude of ways. First off, the increase in debt has led to many debates on the debt ceiling. Congress isn't putting out appropriations or passing budget resolutions. It's easier for the House to cut future spending, which might otherwise be much needed. The deficits can lead to higher interest rates, less investment, and slower growth. So, in other words, several programs won't get the money that they need, or in other words, they will, but at a slower pace than they would need for effective year-to-year change. A high deficit means limited flexibility and, specifically, they lead to stalemates. Here's why. Each party already wants different things. Republicans in general want to cut spending, and Democrats want to raise taxes on the wealthy. With high deficits, there isn't a lot of room for the parties to compromise, for instance, via programs. Each party wants to fight for only what it wants and doesn't care so much for the other.
The solution to our problem is simple yet hard to convince people. The only real thing to do is to increase revenue and decrease spending. On the revenue side, it would be to either increase taxes or rework the tax code so that people don't avoid taxes through loopholes, or both. On the spending side, it would be good to cut discretionary spending. However, a shift in entitlement programs would also go a long way, as the budget mainly consists of mandatory spending. These options are good for reducing deficits, but they are also very unpopular. Still, unpopular as they may seem, this is the start to reducing deficits and making the budget process smoother.
The committee members selected must have open minds, be willing to consider every option, no matter how painful to their own political ideas and even their own political parties.
Our solution addresses the problem of deficits because it relieves pressure off of Congress when passing a budget. There should be more money available in the governing process, giving more flexibility on properly funding the government. Our solution works within the budget process and provides logical steps for our government to take. While Congress would need to pass the necessary rule changes and possible tax hikes, the deficit could be lowered through these measures. Flexibility would be given for national incidents such as hurricanes, flooding, and other extreme events. However, loopholes need to be closed as the deficit is extremely important in the general proceedings of our government. These solutions also in many ways appeal to both parties. We work towards the tax increases to appease Democrats and the cutting of spending for the Republicans. This lowering of the deficit could help the issues of polarization and deadlock in the government. This in turn could make the budget process smoother and stop the constant reliance on continuing resolutions. Our solution is logical and bipartisan. In the end, deficits need to be controlled in order for our country to continue its prosperity.
Look, 5.5 years ago when I got here, I found out that we do more fighting between Republicans and Democrats than getting something done. Talking with the Comptroller General, who really handles our financial statements for the United States, he sat right here in my office and said, we're on an unsustainable path. Our debt and deficits are growing too rapidly. We need to change things.